is nice. This episode is for Elon Musk. This is a defense of Elon Musk because the media just seems to be attacking him. But here's the problem with that, is they attack him and then it's expected he say nothing back. They are acting like just vicious piranhas. They can say the most vicious thing about Elon Musk. And then as soon as he responds to it, he's the worst. He is the worst, and he's just so out of line. And that's not fair. You know, you can't they'll bash him out of the blue, say the worst thing possible, and then if he responds, it's over. Well, Elon Musk, ladies and gentlemen, is a hero of mine. And I'm just freestyling this episode. I was going to write a script, and I couldn't think of any criticisms of him. So I called a friend. I asked my girlfriend. I asked people to tell me what criticisms they would have of him. And they felt the same way. I had a tough time finding anyone to really say much bad about him. As a matter of fact, they would say more good than anything. So just to start off, one of the criticisms that he gets is with the Tesla stock and it having lots of trouble. It's not going up, and he tweets and it goes down. But mind you, if you look at Ford stock, if you look at GM, and if you look at Volkswagen, just for the last year, they all haven't been performing too well. And Tesla hasn't been performing too well either. But none of them have. So why don't they put at fault the CEOs for Ford, GM, and Volkswagen like they do with Elon? It's interesting, and it honestly, what it is, in my opinion, is the whole website he wanted to start to rate journalists. He wanted to start this website to rate their trustworthiness, which makes sense, which is really good for society because it holds them accountable and makes sure that they're not just producing crap. And they didn't seem to take well to that because immediately after this, they started to really go on just a hateful rant and bashing of him. Like piranhas. They just try to rip him apart. But the website sounds like a good idea to make sure that they are producing stories that are trustworthy and non-biased. It's amazing. The journalists will take pride in, fighting for the people and defending the people. So they should be on board with this, but they're not. They're very focused on just getting as many clicks. So whatever it takes to do that, and whoever they have to destroy to do that, that's what they're going to do. So furthermore, I don't believe tweets, the one with the pedo guy thing when he said that, is not such a big deal. He can say what he wants. And that's one of the nice things about owning your own company, is you can do what you want and say what you want. And it's one of the nice things about living in America that people seem to forget, is you can say what you want and do what you want. And think about it from his perspective. He went and did something he didn't have to do. He tried to build a submarine to save these kids. I can't think of, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know any other CEOs of companies that were trying to do the same thing. I didn't see Jeff Bezos doing this. I didn't see anyone else really trying to help. And immediately when he said he was going to help, they started attacking him. So when the diver goes and criticizes Elon Musk in his plan, of course he's going to take it personally. He didn't need to do that. The guy works 100 to 120 hours a week, and then he goes and devotes more time to this. So for it to go so unappreciated is not very fair to him. Also, so the tweets don't make him unfit to lead, to be in charge of a company. For example, there are a lot worse things that CEOs have done that actually justify them not being in charge of a company. If you remember Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan and Chase, or if you remember John Stumpf, the CEO of Wells Fargo, where he was starting all these fake bank accounts without people knowing. Those are reasons to not be a CEO. Your tweets are not. As a matter of fact, he's probably more fit to be in charge of a company than anybody else. So to say he's not, I just can't wrap my head around. He works hard. Like I said, he's been working 120 hours a week, sleeping on the floor of the factory. He spends a lot of his time at all of these companies, and it's not like he has a little donut shop where he's contributing to society via making donuts or via making vicious news articles. He doesn't have that. He has companies that have the intent to save humanity. So I'm sorry to tell you, but your desire to have more clicks on your article is not worth humanity. It's rather narcissistic to think it is. So if you can name anybody who would be better fit to run Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City, what else do we got? All of those companies, and the ones he started before, he contributed to PayPal. He had X.com and Zip2, and he did quite fine with those, even though he got booted as CEO for one of them. But hey, that's okay. He did well with the other ones. And he'll make a fortune and then could just call it quits and just go and relax. But instead, he invests his fortune into other companies, and he even would sleep at a friend's house, or he would borrow money from his friends to pay rent. This is someone who sold a company and made about $180 million from it, is now asking someone to pay the rent for them. He puts everything he has into it, his time, he puts his money where his mouth is. And I'm glad that he does that, because it would be a shame to have such a great mind and such an ambitious person just have them just sit there and go to waste. He's a gift. He's a gift. He's a smart person who's not lazy. And there's been problems where how hard he pushes the workers. He pushes the workers very hard, but it's not like he's doing that and sitting in a nice air-conditioned office all day. As a matter of fact, his office is not very impressive. It's essentially a cubicle. And he does that so people can just come in and ask him questions. He sleeps on the factory floor, this man worth $20 billion, so that people can come in and ask him questions and he can solve the problems that they need solved. So I just cannot wrap my head around why you would not like this guy. Media, and especially a lot of journalists today, should love the guy. Why? Because he stands for essentially everything that they supposedly fight for and fight against. For example, the media hates Trump very much. They hate him very much. He was working for Trump. And he left when Trump decided to leave the Paris Agreement. They should love him for that. The media hates greedy CEOs who don't do anything and make all of these people just work really hard. And then, they'll go and do something really corrupt and screw over lots of customers, and then they'll get a 20% raise. And now they're making $20 million a year. He takes the $1 salary, and he made about 37 grand. So he can push the employees. And he isn't a greedy CEO. So why the media doesn't like him is beyond me, but it probably is because he wants to hold them accountable for what they do. I think it's a great idea to put a name and a face to these articles, because their reputation will be more on the line, and they'll be less willing to put out a story when they know people are going to know they wrote it. For example, if you look on YouTube comments, people will say really terrible things. Why? Because nobody knows who they are. But if they commented a terrible thing and then you commented a picture of their face and their name, so everyone now knows who they are, they probably wouldn't do it. So it's just sad. It's just really sad to me. Maybe they dislike him because he cares so much about quality. He didn't invest any money in Tesla advertising. Why? Because he only wanted to invest money into Tesla that would make the consumer's experience better, to make the car more quality. So he's big on function over form. He puts that first, but the form is pretty nice because Teslas are a beautiful car and a great car. Maybe the journalists don't like him because he cares about quality and not just putting out crap. I don't think there's any justification to complain about a man who starts a private rocket company and can land the rocket and puts everything on the line to do that, or starts an electric car company when all you really had was a Prius before that. Now you have this new, nice car that people want. So I'll keep it short because there's not much to really be said. It's just obvious. It's just obvious that this is very dramatic, all these attacks on him, and very unjustified. You want to bash on Azealia Banks? I think I've never heard of her until I found out that she was talking smack about my boy. Azealia Banks is no different than these journalists writing stuff about him. If the man does something worth criticizing, criticize him. If the man doesn't do something that shouldn't be criticized, don't make yourself look like an idiot and criticize him. Because I'm hard-pressed to find a lot of people who agree with this stuff. They don't see it. So I guess that's all. But thank you for watching, and have a good night.